my name's Erin Moug. I live in Traverse City, Michigan. I'm 45 years old, and before going on long-term disability, I was a special education teacher consultant and evaluator, and then also part-time I worked as an investment advisor for my dad. Yeah. So I was doing those two things before I ended up having to go on long-term disability, which I've been on for a little over a year now.
Yeah. So you look amazing in comparison to this photograph that you shared with me. And so yeah. I know you've got a long story. You've been through a lot that, you know, a novel could hold.
Yes.
So why don't you share with us your story? You know, where have you been?
Sure.
And how these patches have impacted your life?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And I was coming on thinking, how am I going to encapsulate this story in 7 minutes? It's like pretty much impossible. So like on the testimonial page, like you'll see definitely like the list of all the symptoms I had. I'm probably not going to be able to go through them all because there was just so many. But basically what happened to me was, it's a long COVID story for a lack of a better term. But in February, I think it was actually January of 2022, when things kind of started, the world started opening up again. And I was super excited about getting back to life. And I did a lot of travel. I went to Costa Rica for like a week. I went to some raw vegan fruitarian retreat center for a week and came back. And, you know, I was like totally fine, healthy, didn't get sick. And I was super pumped. I was like, I'm amazing, like bragging about how, like, you know, I was excited that I traveled and didn't get sick. But then like a couple weeks later, I went to Breckenridge to go skiing and came back and I got COVID. And then in like a couple weeks later, I got influenza A from all the kids that I work with at the middle school and elementary school. And then a couple weeks later, I went to Costa Rica again and I got COVID again. So in like a period of 3 months, I've got COVID, the flu, COVID. And a lot of people always wonder, it's always the thought in the back of their heads is, was she vaccinated? That's always comes up. And I was vaccinated. So for better or for worse, that was a part of the picture. And so I kind of thought I cleared everything. I felt, you know, things weren't awful, but I was starting to feel better, returned back to work, had the brain fog and a headache. But then slowly things just started getting worse. And come by Memorial 2022, I just had debilitating vertigo and couldn't finish the school year. It just felt like I was living in a constant tornado, or being put on a ship at sea in the worst storm ever, nonstop 24/7. So wasn't able to finish up work. That was like for 2 weeks, last 2 weeks of school, wasn't able to finish. And then I started noticing, like, when I was doing yoga or swimming, like I'd have a weird spasm in my left foot, or I'd have a weird spasm in my right calf. And then I was like, this is not right. Like, what is happening? And all of a sudden it was like from head to toe, I could feel something was taking over my body. And so ligaments, tendons, muscles, everything was destroyed. Neurological, numbing, electrical, pins and needle sensations all over my body, horrible nerve pain. At the worst of the worst, I couldn't feel my legs, and my dad would have to like pump blood into my legs, like on the couch, like trying to like get it so I could feel my legs again. And then I started getting tachycardia. So my heart was going in about like 170 beats per minute for like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, thought I was gonna have a stroke. And at the time I would like, sorry, I don't know if you want me to stop, but I can kind of start talking about like how the patches came into my life.
I'm sure a question is arising in other minds, like his mind. Did the medical system know what was going on with you? Why were you getting these pins and needles in your neurological system, your nervous system?
No, and I was in and out of emergency rooms. I 10 plus or minus times I was going into the emergency room or hospital setting or my general practitioner. And nobody really had any answers other than this is probably long COVID and we don't really understand it just yet.
Wow.
And at that time, Sorry,
because you can go on with what else was going on with it, because I know you lost your vision at times, and that's
oh, it was
that's pretty darn
terrifying. There was a
scary.
time I was looking at my brother and all of a sudden he was like a blur. And I was like, holy cow, like I can't even see you. I was losing my hearing, like almost, I don't know. It was seriously just the scariest time in my life. Like I can't even, I say that I wouldn't wish it on the worst historical figures out there, like what
Yeah.
I experienced. It was like body warfare for a good 7 months.
Yeah, because I remember you saying that you felt like that your body was literally, all nerves were on fire.
It was, yeah, I hated being in, like, it was impossible being in my body. It was hard for me to breathe. I was like gasping for air because I was in so much pain. It was almost like I was holding my breath. And then I'd have to remind myself to breathe because I was in so much pain.
So obviously your whole life changed, going from this thriving, special ed teacher to what was your life looking like at this point?
Yeah. So like, can I get into how the patches came in to the picture?
Really, right.
So I have always been a pretty spiritual person. And I was like, at this time, I like lost it all. It was why is this happening to me? I eat my veggies and fruit and what in the heck is going on to me? And I like lost all hope and everything. And so I've been a part of this like spiritual community for years, where it's an author who gives free coaching via Zoom every Thursday. And I've been attending forever. And so I got on and I just said, I need the whole group to pray for me because I don't believe in God. I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe in angels. All the things that I used to believe in, I don't believe in anymore. Like I believe life is a bitch, you die, and that's it. And if you still believe, like, can you pray for me? Can you hold me up? And so he did a whole group prayer. But in the direct message box, Sandy Bowman wrote me a message saying, hi, Erin, you need to get on these stem cell patches. I had Parkinson's disease and I reversed it through these stem cell patches and it gave me my life back. And so that's how I got on the patches. And so I truly believe that they came to me through divine intervention because I didn't know Sandy. And so I got on the patches for 3 months and at first, like it was such a momentous snowball that I don't think anything was really truly going to stop what was happening, but something could prevent me from getting even sicker, I think. And so when I first went on the patches, I was on them for 3 months and I weirdly was like, like I feel like different. Like I feel like I'm getting like a little bit of energy because I had absolutely no energy. It was hard. I lived in my fluffy rabbit weird pajamas for like 6 months and it was hard for me to go from like my like floor to my bed or my bed to the bathroom. Like it was effort to walk the smallest of distances. And then eventually I got off the patches. And then come Christmas time is when I went into like really bad tachycardia for like 3 weeks and just horrible neurological stuff. So I finally went into the hospital and I was there for a week. They diagnosed me with viral dysautonomia, basically saying that I just had so much virus in my body that it eventually caused my autonomic nervous system to just not really know how to be an autonomic nervous system. And it controls pretty much everything. And so kind of my only thing that wasn't impacted were my lungs. Like I wasn't on oxygen. I didn't have difficulties breathing, but everything else was just destroyed. And so when I was in the hospital, there was just kind of a quiet voice that said to me through all the pain, like, contact Sandy again and get on patches. And so in the hospital, I said, I need to reorder the X39. I did. And so I got back on it. And when I was in the hospital, I was in an obscene amount of steroids. I went from like being really, really like frail and like tiny, like too skinny to like putting on 20 pounds in the hospital because of water retention from the steroids, bloating. It was in like just crazy amount of bloating. You couldn't even see my knees. My feet were just, I couldn't walk. I couldn't bend my legs because they retained so much water. And that's what's going on in that picture. And so because of the steroids, I had like this like horrible radiator sound. My brain was so inflamed. My ears were so inflamed that it was maddening. And like, I would have to wear earbuds with white noise 24/7 or I was going to lose my mind. And so I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor to see like if he could help me with tinnitus. I had like a weird lump in my throat. And this is when kind of my skepticism about like, are these patches doing anything totally changed? So I know we're running out of time, but I took the patch from my neck and I put it under one of my ears. And all of a sudden it just went like, it was crazy how it amplified the sound. So it just started going, wah, 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 wah. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, all right, it's doing something. It's not comfortable, but it's healing. And I know that's what it is. And immediately the lump in my throat that was there went away and it was just gone. And like, of course, the ear, nose, and throat doc said, there's nothing we can do. He didn't give me anything, but that lump was gone. And then I just wasn't skeptical anymore. I was like, these patches are doing something. And they just have helped with so many things. Like the list goes on and on. But that was when I got really passionate and I felt like Johnny Appleseed, where I was like, everybody needs to get on these. I want to give them to everybody. And that's kind of when things, I really got super passionate about the patches. But like I said, the story is so long, I could talk forever. So I'll stop though.
Well, you are now. So let's just kind of do a quick blibbit. Where's your life now?
Yeah, sure. So like my muscles, those spasms, the tendon ligaments, all those rips and tears, like those are completely healed. You know, I have been doing the X39 mostly, but then I was like, I want to start adding the X49 a little bit. And the other day I was like at the pool and I was swimming like 30 laps with this guy who was 80 years old next to me. And I'm like, this guy swam 40. I'm going to try and swim as many as he can. And I was like, I could swim forever. And I was just like, I can't believe my body is just like doing this. And, you know, I hiked 8 miles a couple weeks ago. You know, my yoga is back. I'm still dealing with a little mild neuropathy, but like if I ever, like today I was cleaning my car and my hand was going a little numb. So I'll put like a patch where I'm feeling the numbness, and usually within 30 minutes, like the nerve pain will go away. Yeah, so tinnitus is still there a little bit.
Okay. And how's your pain?
Oh, I'm not dealing with that excruciating pain. I can live in here again. So that's huge, because it was, I didn't think I was going to make it to 46 years old, like honestly. And I can inhabit this body and be okay in here.